Hello there. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Right now, below the shimmering surface of our world, there lies a realm of absolute darkness, crushing pressure, and ancient silence. The deep ocean covers more than half of our planet, yet it remains one of the least explored places in existence. Tonight we will drift gently into the abyss, where light fades to nothing, and strange creatures glow in the eternal night. We will explore over 100 soothing facts about the sea, from its deepest trenches to its hidden mountains, from bioluminescent hunters to the slow rain of marine snow. There is no test at the end. No rush, no urgency. Just the quiet unfolding of oceanic wonder to carry you softly towards sleep. So let your breathing slow, let your thoughts grow quiet, and allow yourself to sink gently into the peaceful depths of the deep. Welcome to Drowsy Discovery. I am glad you found your way here tonight. Perhaps you have had a long day. Perhaps you simply enjoy falling asleep to thoughts about the vast darkness beneath the waves, and the strange life that thrives within it. Either way, this space is for you. There is something deeply calming about contemplating the ocean's depths. The deep sea has existed in patient silence for billions of years, long before any creature crawled onto land, long before forests or mountains or cities. You are part of that story. The water in your body once flowed through ancient seas. The salt in your tears echoes the chemistry of primordial oceans. We carry the sea within us. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is relax. So settle in. Let the weight of the day drift away. And let us begin with the first of many quiet truths about the deep sea. The ocean is patient beyond measure. Its trenches have held their silent depths for eons. Its currents have flowed in patterns older than any mountain on land. And yet, within all that stillness, there is life. Creatures that glow in the darkness. Ecosystems that thrive without sunlight. Mysteries that we are only beginning to understand. Tonight, we will wander through this hidden world. We will meet the creatures that shimmer in the midnight zone. We will discover the secrets hidden in crushing depths. And we will uncover truths about the sea that may surprise even the most curious minds. But there is no hurry. The deep has waited for billions of years. It can continue its quiet patience while you rest. Let us begin with the vast realm that lies beneath the waves. The deep ocean covers more than half of Earth's surface. Beneath the familiar shorelines and sunlit shallows lies a realm of immense proportions. The ocean depths, defined as areas below 200 meters where sunlight cannot penetrate, account for over half of our planet's total surface area. This vast expanse of darkness and cold represents the largest habitat on Earth, yet it remains one of the least understood. Most life on our planet's surface exists above water or in the upper layers of the sea, leaving the abyssal plains and trenches in near-perpetual solitude. The sheer scale of the deep ocean is difficult to comprehend. If you could drain the water away, you would reveal mountain ranges, canyons, and plains that dwarf their terrestrial counterparts. Every continent could fit within the deep ocean floor with room to spare. This hidden world exists in a state of profound stillness, where time seems to slow and the pressures of surface existence fade into the quiet darkness below. More of Mars has been mapped than the ocean floor. Despite being a part of our own planet, the deep ocean remains more mysterious than the surface of distant worlds. Scientists have created detailed topographical maps of Mars using orbiting spacecraft, yet large portions of Earth's seafloor have never been surveyed at comparable resolution. The reason lies in the difficulty of exploring beneath miles of water compared to the relative ease of photographing a planet from space. Seawater absorbs sunlight and blocks radio waves, making satellite imaging useless for mapping the abyss. Instead, researchers must rely on sonar pulses that travel slowly and require ships to painstakingly traverse vast oceanic territories. The irony is striking. We know more about the craters and valleys of a world millions of kilometers away than we do about the terrain hidden beneath the waves just a few kilometers from our shores. The deep ocean is truly Earth's last unexplored frontier. The mid-ocean ridge stretches over 60,000 kilometers. Winding its way through every major ocean basin, the mid-ocean ridge forms the longest continuous mountain chain on the planet. This colossal feature stretches for more than 60,000 kilometers, dwarfing any mountain range on land. It runs from the Arctic through the Atlantic, curves around Africa, passes beneath the Indian Ocean, and extends into the Pacific. The ridge marks the boundary where tectonic plates pull apart, allowing molten rock from the mantle to rise and solidify into new oceanic crust. The process is slow but relentless, adding fresh material to the seafloor over millions of years. Some sections of the ridge rise more than 2 kilometers above the surrounding abyssal plains, forming peaks that would rival the Alps if they stood on dry land. Yet most of this immense structure lies hidden beneath kilometers of water, unseen by human eyes. This underwater mountain range is the longest on Earth. No mountain chain on any continent comes close to matching the length of the mid-ocean ridge. The Andes, stretching roughly 7,000 kilometers along South America's western coast, are often considered the longest on land, yet they pale in comparison to the submarine giant. The deep ocean conceals this record-breaking feature beneath its dark waters, where volcanic activity continues to shape the Earth even as we sleep. The ridge is not a single continuous peak, but a complex system of interconnected segments, offset by fracture zones and punctuated by valleys and plateaus. In places, the ridge rises above sea level to form volcanic islands like Iceland, offering a rare glimpse of the forces at work below. This hidden backbone of our planet is a testament to the dynamic processes that have been shaping Earth for billions of years. Light disappears completely by 200 meters deep. Sunlight is the engine of life on the surface, driving photosynthesis and warming the upper layers of the ocean. But as you descend through the water column, light fades with astonishing speed. Blue wavelengths penetrate the deepest, but even they are absorbed within the first few hundred meters. By the time you reach 200 meters, the world has become a twilight realm, where only the faintest glimmers remain. Beyond this threshold lies absolute darkness, a void untouched by the sun's rays for billions of years. Creatures living in these depths have never experienced daylight, and never will. This boundary marks a fundamental divide in oceanic life. Above it, photosynthesis fuels rich food webs. Below it, organisms rely on other strategies to survive. The transition from light to darkness is one of the most profound changes a traveler can experience on our planet. The deep sea is divided into distinct zones based on depth. Scientists have organized the ocean depths into a series of layers, each with its own unique characteristics. The epipelagic zone, from the surface to about 200 meters, is bathed in sunlight and teeming with life. The mesopelagic or twilight zone extends from 200 to 1,000 meters, where light fades and temperatures drop. Below that lies the bathypelagic or midnight zone, from 1,000 to 4,000 meters, where no natural light penetrates. The abyssopelagic zone stretches from 4,000 to 6,000 meters across the vast abyssal plains. Finally, the hadopelagic zone describes the deepest trenches, plunging beyond 6,000 meters into the Earth's crust. Each zone presents its own challenges and is home to creatures adapted to specific pressures, temperatures, and food supplies. Understanding these layers helps scientists study the diverse ecosystems that exist in the hidden depths below. The twilight zone marks the edge of sunlight. Descending from the bright upper waters, you enter the mesopelagic realm, known poetically as the twilight zone. Here, between 200 and 1,000 meters, the last traces of sunlight filter down as a dim blue glow. It is not bright enough for photosynthesis, yet it is not complete darkness either. Many creatures have evolved to exploit this gradient, using large eyes to detect the faint light, or employing camouflage to blend into the murky haze. Some animals hide at depth during the day and migrate upward at night to feed in richer surface waters. The twilight zone is a transitional world, neither fully sunlit nor fully dark, a realm of shadows where predators and prey play an eternal game of hide and seek. It is also a region of immense biological importance, housing more fish biomass than any other oceanic zone. The biomass hidden in this zone may exceed that of all the fish in the surface waters combined. The midnight zone exists in permanent darkness. Below 1,000 meters, the ocean enters a realm where sunlight never reaches. This is the bathypelagic zone, sometimes called the midnight zone, and it stretches down to about 4,000 meters. Temperatures hover just above freezing, and the water is utterly black save for the eerie flashes of bioluminescent creatures. Pressure is immense, yet life persists in astonishing variety. Fish with transparent bodies, gelatinous invertebrates, and slow-moving giants drift through the void. Food is scarce, arriving mainly as marine snow, a gentle rain of organic debris falling from the sunlit layers above. Creatures here have evolved extreme patience, low metabolisms, and bizarre adaptations to cope with the eternal night. The midnight zone is a world of silent endurance, where time seems meaningless and the usual rules of surface life no longer apply. Survival in this realm requires ingenious strategies that continue to astonish scientists with every new discovery. Pressure increases by 1 atmosphere every 10 meters. Water is far denser than air, and as you descend, its weight presses down with increasing force. For every 10 meters of depth, the pressure grows by 1 atmosphere, the equivalent of the entire weight of Earth's atmosphere pressing on you at sea level. At 100 meters, you experience 10 times the surface pressure. At 1,000 meters, you feel 100 atmospheres, enough to crush most objects designed for surface conditions. The human body, without specialized protection, would be fatally compressed within minutes. Deep-sea creatures have evolved tissues and biochemistry that can withstand these forces, including flexible cell membranes, specialized proteins, and body plans that equalize pressure inside and out. For engineers, building vehicles capable of reaching the deepest trenches is a monumental challenge. The pressure in the abyss reminds us how hostile Earth's own depths can be. At the deepest trenches, pressure exceeds 8 tons per square inch. In the Hadal zone, the deepest layer of the ocean, conditions become almost unimaginable. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the pressure reaches over 1,000 times that at sea level, translating to roughly 8 tons pressing on every square inch. That is equivalent to stacking dozens of elephants on a postage stamp. Any air pocket would be instantly crushed, and most materials would buckle or implode. Yet even here, life has found a way. Shrimp-like amphipods, snailfish, and single-celled organisms thrive in sediments that have remained undisturbed for millennia. Their survival is a testament to the adaptability of life and the creative power of evolution. The crushing depths of the trenches remind us that Earth still holds environments as extreme and alien as any we might imagine on distant worlds. The pressure-adapted creatures of the Hadal Zone are living proof that life's resilience knows few boundaries. The Mariana Trench is nearly 11 kilometers deep. Located in the western Pacific Ocean, the Mariana Trench is the deepest known feature on Earth's surface. Its floor lies approximately 11 kilometers below sea level, a depth so extreme that if you could place Mount Everest at the bottom, its peak would still be more than a kilometer underwater. The trench stretches for over 2,500 kilometers in a crescent shape, formed where the Pacific Plate is forced beneath the smaller Mariana Plate. Pressure at the bottom reaches crushing levels, and temperatures hover just above freezing. Despite these hostile conditions, expeditions have discovered life in the sediment, including small crustaceans and single-celled organisms. The Mariana Trench represents the ultimate frontier of oceanic exploration, a place where the weight of the entire ocean column presses down on a narrow strip of seafloor that humans have barely begun to explore. Every expedition to this lonely abyss pushes the limits of technology and human courage. The Challenger Deep is the lowest known point on Earth. Within the Mariana Trench lies a small valley called the Challenger Deep, named after the British survey ship that first recorded its extraordinary depth in 1875. Modern measurements place its deepest point at approximately 10,920 meters below sea level, making it the lowest known location on our planet. The Challenger Deep is so remote that visiting it requires submersibles built to withstand pressures hundreds of times greater than those at the surface. Only a handful of crewed missions have ever reached the bottom, and each has spent only minutes or hours exploring. The darkness is absolute, the cold relentless, and the silence complete. Yet even here, in the most extreme environment our planet offers, life endures. The Challenger Deep stands as a symbol of Earth's profound depths and the mysteries that still await discovery. It is a humbling reminder that the planet we call home still conceals wonders beyond our full comprehension. Fewer people have visited the Challenger Deep than the Moon. Since the dawn of the space age, 12 astronauts have walked on the lunar surface. In contrast, the number of humans who have descended to the bottom of the Challenger Deep can be counted on one hand. The technical challenges of surviving deep-sea pressure have proven even more daunting than escaping Earth's gravity. A crewed submersible must be engineered with thick titanium or steel spheres, specialized seals, and life support systems capable of operating under tremendous stress. Historically, funding and interest have favored space exploration over deep-sea research, leaving the ocean's greatest depths comparatively neglected. This disparity highlights how little we know about the abyssal realms of our own planet. The Challenger Deep remains one of the most exclusive destinations in human experience, visited by fewer explorers than any other extreme environment on or off Earth. In 1960, 2 people reached the deepest part of the ocean. On January 23, 1960, Swiss engineer Jacques Piccard and American naval officer Don Walsh descended to the bottom of the Challenger Deep. Their mission was part of Project Nekton, a joint effort between the United States Navy and the Swiss-designed Bathyscaphe Trieste. The journey to the bottom took almost 5 hours, with the small cabin plunging through kilometers of darkness. When they arrived, the sediment stirred by their landing obscured visibility, and they had only about 20 minutes to observe their surroundings before ascending. Nevertheless, their achievement marked a milestone in human exploration. For the first time, people had reached the absolute nadir of Earth's surface and returned safely. The dive proved that humans could, with sufficient engineering, venture into the most hostile places on the planet. Their vessel was called the Trieste. The Trieste was a remarkable piece of engineering designed specifically to withstand extreme pressure. It was a bathyscaphe, a type of free-diving submersible that uses a float filled with gasoline for buoyancy and iron pellets as ballast. The crew occupied a small steel sphere suspended beneath the float, barely large enough to hold 2 people in cramped quarters. Built in Italy and later acquired by the United States Navy, Trieste underwent modifications before its historic dive to the Challenger Deep. The sphere's walls were several inches thick, forged from specially treated steel to resist the crushing weight of the water column above. Though primitive by modern standards of technology, the Trieste proved that careful design could conquer even the deepest trenches. Today, replicas and successors continue its legacy of deep-sea exploration. The Trieste survived the crushing pressure of the abyss. During its descent to the Challenger Deep, the Trieste endured pressures exceeding 1,000 times those at the ocean's surface. Every weld, seal, and structural component was tested to its limit. As the bathyscaphe sank deeper, the crew heard unsettling groaning sounds as the hull adjusted to the immense forces pressing inward. Despite these stresses, the vessel remained intact. The success of the mission demonstrated that materials, science, and engineering could meet the challenge of the deep ocean. The lessons learned from Trieste influenced the design of future submersibles, paving the way for robotic exploration and additional crewed dives decades later. The bathyscaphe's survival became a benchmark for deep-sea vehicle construction. It showed that humanity could safely reach even the most remote corners of Earth's underwater realm. Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh spent just 20 minutes on the bottom. After nearly 5 hours of descent, Piccard and Walsh had only a brief window to observe the deepest point on Earth. The sediment stirred by their landing reduced visibility to almost nothing, limiting what they could see through the small porthole. They reported glimpsing a flatfish-like creature, though later scientists have debated whether it was truly a fish or another organism. The short duration of their stay was dictated by concerns about the vessel's endurance and the need to return safely to the surface. Nevertheless, those 20 minutes represented one of the most significant moments in exploration history. The 2 men proved that life could exist at the ocean's greatest depths and inspired generations of researchers to continue probing the abyss. Their brief visit opened a door that remains ajar today. No one returned to the Challenger Deep for over 50 years. After the Trieste's historic dive in 1960, the bottom of the Challenger Deep remained untouched by humans for more than half a century. The technical challenges, high costs, and shifting priorities of oceanographic research meant that no follow-up crewed missions were attempted. Robotic probes occasionally descended to gather samples and images, but no person set foot on the deepest seafloor again until 2012. During those intervening decades, space exploration consumed much of the public's attention and funding. The ocean's depths, though far closer than the Moon or Mars, were largely forgotten by mainstream exploration efforts. This long gap underscores how difficult and expensive deep-sea ventures remain, even in an age of advanced technology. The Challenger Deep waited in patient silence for humanity to return. James Cameron completed a solo dive in 2012. In March 2012, filmmaker and explorer James Cameron piloted the deep-sea Challenger to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, becoming the first person to make a solo descent to the Challenger Deep. The specially designed submersible took about 2 hours and 36 minutes to reach the seafloor, where Cameron spent several hours filming and collecting samples. His mission was both scientific and personal, driven by a lifelong fascination with the ocean's mysteries. The dive demonstrated that modern materials and engineering could reduce the size and cost of deep-sea vehicles compared to the Trieste era. Cameron's footage and observations reignited public interest in deep-sea exploration, reminding the world that Earth's greatest depths still hold secrets worth pursuing. The dive was a milestone that bridged the gap between expedition and popular imagination. Most deep-sea creatures produce their own light. In the eternal darkness of the deep ocean, bioluminescence is the primary source of illumination. Estimates suggest that between 70 and 90% of deep-sea organisms can produce light through chemical reactions in their bodies. This ability serves many purposes: attracting prey, communicating with potential mates, confusing predators, or camouflaging against the faint glow from above. The light is typically generated by a molecule called luciferin, reacting with oxygen, catalyzed by an enzyme called luciferase. Some species partner with luminescent bacteria that live inside specialized organs. The result is a dazzling variety of colors and patterns, from flashing beacons to steady glows. Bioluminescence has evolved independently dozens of times across the tree of life, a testament to its survival value in a world without sunlight. The deep ocean glimmers with countless points of living light. Bioluminescence is the most common form of communication in the deep. Without sunlight, deep-sea organisms rely on their own biological light to interact with one another. Flash patterns can signal species identity, attract mates across distances, or warn rivals to stay away. Some creatures use rapid pulses to startle attackers, while others emit steady glows to lure curious prey within striking range. The variety of bioluminescent signals rivals the complexity of bird song or insect calls in surface ecosystems. Because light travels farther than sound in water, luminescent communication can span considerable distances in the clear, cold depths. Scientists have only begun to decode these silent conversations, observing flashes during mating rituals and defensive displays. The deep ocean is not a quiet void, but a realm of constant visual chatter, written in the language of living light, understood only by its ancient inhabitants. The anglerfish uses a glowing lure to hunt prey. Perhaps no deep-sea creature is as iconic as the anglerfish, with its gaping jaws and dangling bioluminescent lure. A modified fin spine, called an esker, projects forward from the fish's head, tipped with a bulb that glows in the darkness. The light attracts smaller fish and invertebrates, which mistake it for a morsel of food. When prey ventures close enough, the anglerfish strikes with lightning speed, engulfing victims in a mouth lined with needle-sharp teeth. The lure's glow is produced by symbiotic bacteria that live within the esker, receiving nutrients in exchange for their luminescent service. Different anglerfish species display lures of varying shapes, colors, and flash patterns, each adapted to local prey preferences. This hunting strategy is an elegant solution to the challenge of finding food in a world where meals are scarce and visibility is nil. Its light is produced by symbiotic bacteria. The glow of the anglerfish lure is not generated by the fish itself, but by colonies of bacteria living inside a specialized organ. These bacteria belong to species capable of bioluminescence on their own, and they thrive in the nutrient-rich environment provided by their host. In return, the bacteria produce a steady or pulsing light that the anglerfish can modulate by controlling blood flow to the organ. This partnership is a remarkable example of mutualism in one of Earth's harshest environments. The fish gains a hunting tool, while the bacteria gain shelter and sustenance. Similar symbiotic relationships occur in flashlight fish and certain squid, demonstrating that interspecies cooperation is a common strategy for surviving the abyss. The anglerfish's glow is not its own creation, but the gift of trillions of microscopic partners. Some creatures flash light to startle predators. In the darkness of the deep, a sudden burst of light can be a powerful defensive weapon. Many animals emit bright flashes when threatened, temporarily blinding or confusing attackers long enough to escape. Some species release clouds of luminescent mucus or expel glowing particles, creating decoys that draw a predator's attention away. Others use counter-illumination, matching the faint light filtering from above to erase their silhouette and become invisible from below. The startle response is especially effective against predators that rely on sensitive eyes adapted to near-total darkness. A blinding flash in such conditions can disorient a hunter for the critical seconds needed to flee. This strategy has evolved independently across many unrelated groups, from shrimp to fish to cephalopods, underscoring its universal value in the deep-sea survival toolkit. Others use light to attract mates in the darkness. Finding a partner in the vast, lightless ocean is no small feat. Many deep-sea animals solve this problem by producing species-specific light patterns that serve as beacons in the dark. Males may flash distinctive signals to advertise their presence, while females answer with their own luminescent displays. The patterns can differ in color, timing, and location on the body, helping individuals identify suitable mates of the right species. In some anglerfish, males are tiny and permanently fused to the female's body, but they must first locate her by following her glow. Other species gather at specific depths or locations where light signals concentrate. Bioluminescent courtship is a silent romance written in flashes and pulses, a dance of chemistry and color in a world where no other light exists. Some animals glow to camouflage themselves against faint surface light. Even at depths where sunlight seems absent, a faint glow filters down from above. Predators lurking below can detect the silhouettes of prey swimming overhead against this dim backdrop. To counter this threat, many animals produce bioluminescent light on their undersides that matches the downwelling light, effectively erasing their shadow. This technique, called counter-illumination, is common among fish, squid, and crustaceans in the twilight zone. The animal's photophores, or light-producing organs, adjust their output to blend seamlessly with the ambient glow. From below, the creature becomes nearly invisible, a ghostly presence slipping through the water undetected. Counter-illumination is one of nature's most elegant camouflage strategies, turning the problem of residual light into a survival advantage. It is a testament to the ingenuity of evolution in exploiting every possible niche. The vampire squid turns itself inside out when threatened. Despite its menacing name, the vampire squid is a gentle scavenger that drifts through the deep, feeding on marine snow. When threatened, it performs a remarkable defensive maneuver. It inverts its webbed arms over its body, exposing a cloak lined with fleshy spines. The transformation makes the animal look larger and more intimidating while hiding its vulnerable parts. At the same time, it may release bioluminescent mucus to confuse predators in the darkness. The vampire squid lacks the ink sacs of shallow water relatives, but its light show serves a similar distracting purpose. Living at depths between 600 and over 1,000 meters, it occupies the oxygen minimum zone, an environment too low in oxygen for most active predators. Its strange appearance and behaviors are adaptations to a life spent drifting through one of the ocean's most hostile realms. The vampire squid is a living example of how evolution can craft unexpected solutions to extreme environmental challenges. It is not a true squid, but a unique living fossil. The vampire squid belongs to its own order, Vampiromorphidae, and is neither a squid nor an octopus, though it shares features with both. Fossil evidence suggests that its ancestors have existed for over 300 million years, making it a relic of ancient seas. Unlike true squid, it has 2 small fins and 8 arms connected by webbing, plus 2 thin filaments used to gather food particles. Its eyes are proportionally among the largest in the animal kingdom, able to detect faint bioluminescent flashes in the dark. The vampire squid's slow metabolism and passive feeding suit the oxygen-poor waters where it lives. It is a survivor from a distant past, carrying the legacy of Paleozoic oceans into the modern world. Studying it offers a window into the evolution of cephalopods over geological time. Giant squid can grow over 13 meters long. The giant squid is one of the ocean's most legendary inhabitants, inspiring tales of sea monsters for centuries. Including its 2 long feeding tentacles, a giant squid can exceed 13 meters in total length, making it one of the largest invertebrates on Earth. Its body is built for swift hunting in the deep, with muscular tentacles lined with sucker discs edged by sharp, tooth-like rings. Despite its fame, the giant squid remains elusive. Most specimens known to science have been carcasses washed ashore or pulled from the stomachs of sperm whales. Live sightings in the wild are extraordinarily rare, and the first footage of a living giant squid in its natural habitat was captured only in 2012. The animal's enormous eyes, among the largest of any living creature, help it see bioluminescent flashes of prey in the dim deep-sea light. The giant squid remains one of the deep sea's most enigmatic residents, its behavior in the wild still largely a mystery. For centuries, sailors believed them to be mythological sea monsters. Stories of enormous tentacled beasts attacking ships date back to ancient times and appear in the folklore of seafaring cultures around the world. The Scandinavian kraken, a legendary creature capable of dragging whole vessels beneath the waves, is thought to be inspired by sightings of giant squid or their carcasses. Sailors reported glimpses of long, whip-like arms rising from the deep, or discovered sucker scars on the bodies of beached whales. Without the tools to explore the deep ocean, people could only imagine what lurked in its darkness. As science advanced, expeditions recovered specimens that proved the giant squid was real, albeit misunderstood. The line between myth and reality blurred in the deep sea, where genuine wonders exceeded the wildest stories sailors ever told. Today, the giant squid retains its air of mystery, a living legend that still evades easy observation. The colossal squid has eyes the size of dinner plates. Living in the frigid waters around Antarctica, the colossal squid possesses the largest eyes of any known animal. Each eye can measure up to 27 centimeters in diameter, roughly the size of a dinner plate or a soccer ball. These enormous organs are specialized for detecting the faintest traces of bioluminescent light in the near-total darkness of the deep. The colossal squid hunts fish and other squid at depths where sunlight never penetrates, relying on its keen vision to spot the glow of potential prey or approaching predators. Unlike the giant squid's sucker rings, the colossal squid's suckers are equipped with swiveling hooks that can grip prey with terrifying efficiency. Encounters with this creature are rare, and most knowledge comes from specimens caught by fishing vessels or found in the stomachs of sperm whales. Its colossal eyes remain one of nature's most remarkable adaptations to life in the deep. These are the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. No other living creature, past or present, is known to have possessed eyes as large as those of the colossal squid. The immense size allows the maximum possible amount of light to enter the pupil, important when even the dimmest glow could mean the difference between finding food or becoming food. Scientists believe these eyes can detect bioluminescent flashes from sperm whales, the squid's main predator, at distances of over 100 meters. The structure of the eye includes a built-in headlight, a photophore that may help illuminate nearby objects in the pitch-black water. Such extreme adaptations underscore the selective pressures of life in one of Earth's most demanding environments. The colossal squid's eyes are a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, honed over millions of years to function where sunlight never reaches. Studies of these remarkable organs continue to inspire research into low-light vision and bio-inspired sensor design. The frilled shark has remained unchanged for millions of years. Swimming through the deep waters of the Atlantic and Pacific, the frilled shark appears almost prehistoric. Its elongated, eel-like body and rows of trident-shaped teeth resemble fossils dating back tens of millions of years. Scientists often describe it as a living fossil because its basic body plan has changed remarkably little over geological time. The shark's gills have frilly margins, giving it its common name, and its mouth is positioned at the front of its head rather than underneath like most sharks. It preys on squid, fish, and other sharks, swallowing them whole with a sudden lunge. Encounters with living specimens are rare. Most are caught incidentally by deep-sea trawlers. The frilled shark's ancient appearance offers a glimpse into a distant era, when such creatures were more common in the world's oceans. It is sometimes called a living fossil. The term living fossil refers to species that have survived for vast stretches of geological time, with little apparent change in their anatomy. The frilled shark fits this description well, retaining features seen in shark fossils from the Cretaceous period and earlier. Its primitive jaw mechanics, unusual tooth arrangement, and flexible body distinguish it from most modern sharks. Living fossils are valuable to scientists because they offer clues about the anatomy and ecology of ancient ecosystems. However, the term can be misleading. These animals are not frozen in time but continue to evolve at the genetic level. What remains constant is their outward form, adapted so well to their environment that drastic changes are unnecessary. The frilled shark's persistence is a reminder that the deep ocean can serve as a refuge for relics of the past. Encounters with living fossils give researchers a window into evolutionary pathways that might otherwise be known only from rock-bound remains. The gulper eel can swallow prey larger than itself. The gulper eel, also known as the pelican eel, is one of the deep ocean's most bizarre hunters. Its enormous hinged mouth can open wide enough to engulf prey many times its own body size, an essential adaptation in an environment where meals are unpredictable. Once the jaws snap shut, the prey is trapped in a pouch-like lower jaw that expands to accommodate large victims. The eel's stomach can also stretch to hold substantial quantities of food. The rest of the body is slender and whip-like, with a long tail that sometimes ends in a bioluminescent tip used to lure prey. Gulper eels live at depths between 500 and 3,000 meters, drifting through the darkness in search of anything edible. Their grotesque appearance is perfectly suited to the challenges of survival in the abyss. Its jaw can unhinge to engulf enormous meals. Like some snakes, the gulper eel possesses loosely connected skull bones that allow its jaws to open to an extreme angle. This flexibility lets the eel capture prey that would otherwise be too large to consume. In a world where the next meal might not come for weeks or even months, being able to swallow an oversized victim can mean the difference between life and death. The eel's entire head seems designed around this capability, with relatively small teeth and weak muscles that rely on suction rather than biting force. The jaw's impressive gape has made the gulper eel a symbol of deep-sea adaptability. Its ability to capitalize on rare windfalls of food is a survival strategy shared by many creatures in the nutrient-poor depths. Flexibility, both literal and metaphorical, is key to thriving in the abyss. Deep-sea fish often have enormous eyes or no eyes at all. The eyes of deep-sea fish reveal much about their lifestyles. Species living in the twilight zone, where faint light still filters down, often have enlarged eyes to capture every available photon. These eyes may be tubular, pointing upward to detect the silhouettes of prey above. In contrast, fish dwelling in the absolute darkness of the Hadal zone may have vestigial or completely absent eyes, as vision offers no advantage. Instead, these blind species rely on other senses, including lateral line systems that detect water vibrations and chemical receptors that pick up faint scent trails. The variation in eye size across deep-sea communities mirrors the gradient of light from the twilight zone to the abyss. Evolution has fine-tuned each species to its particular niche, balancing the cost of maintaining sensory organs against the benefits they provide. Many deep creatures have soft, fragile bodies. In the deep ocean, where pressure is immense and nutrient resources are scarce, many animals have evolved watery, gelatinous bodies. This soft tissue is cheaper to produce and maintain than dense muscle or bone, reducing the metabolic cost of living. Jellyfish, comb jellies, and siphonophores drift through the darkness like living phantoms, their translucent forms nearly invisible to both prey and predators. Even fish in the abyss tend to have reduced skeletons and flabby muscles compared to their surface relatives. The trade-off is that these creatures are often slow and fragile, unsuited to rapid pursuits or powerful escapes. Instead, they rely on stealth, patience, and opportunistic feeding. A deep-sea trawl often brings up organisms that quickly disintegrate in surface conditions, a reminder of how precisely adapted they are to the crushing, cold embrace of the abyss. Their reduced structures give them mobility in the crushing depths. Paradoxically, having soft, minimally calcified bodies can be an advantage at great depths. Dense bones and rigid tissues would require more energy to maintain, and could become liabilities under extreme pressure. By reducing skeletal structures, deep-sea organisms lower their overall metabolic demands, an important consideration when food is unpredictable. The resulting flexibility also allows some creatures to maneuver through the water column with slow, undulating movements that conserve energy. Gelatinous bodies equilibrate pressure across their tissues, preventing the kind of collapse that would destroy rigid structures. This is why many deep-sea fish look almost shapeless when photographed in their natural environment, but deflate or disintegrate at the surface. Their design is exquisitely suited to a realm where survival depends on efficiency above all else. Reduced structures are not a weakness, but a finely tuned adaptation. Some animals produce antifreeze proteins to survive the cold. Water temperatures in the deep ocean hover just a few degrees above freezing, and in polar regions they can drop below the normal freezing point of cellular fluids. To cope, some fish and invertebrates produce special proteins that prevent ice crystals from forming inside their tissues. These antifreeze proteins bind to tiny ice nuclei and block their growth, keeping cells fluid even under extreme cold. Species like certain Antarctic fish and Arctic cod rely heavily on this adaptation to survive in waters that would otherwise be lethal. The discovery of antifreeze proteins has fascinated scientists and even found applications in food preservation and medicine. In the deep sea, where constant cold is a fact of life, this biochemical trick allows creatures to thrive where most others would quickly succumb. It is one more example of evolution's creative solutions to life's harshest challenges. The Greenland shark may live for over 500 years. In the cold, dark waters of the North Atlantic and Arctic, the Greenland shark moves with glacial slowness through the depths. Recent studies using radiocarbon dating of eye lens proteins have suggested that these sharks can reach ages of 400 years or more, with some individuals possibly exceeding 5 centuries. If confirmed, this would make the Greenland shark the longest-lived vertebrate on record. Its extreme longevity is thought to be linked to its slow metabolism, frigid environment, and late sexual maturity, which may not occur until the shark is over 100 years old. The species grows at a rate of only about 1 centimeter per year, eventually reaching lengths of over 6 meters. Greenland sharks are scavengers and opportunistic predators, feeding on fish, seals, and even the carcasses of polar bears and reindeer. Their ancient presence drifts through the icy seas like a living time capsule. It is possibly the longest-lived vertebrate on Earth. Compared to other long-lived animals, the Greenland shark's lifespan is extraordinary. Bowhead whales may reach 200 years, and some tortoises surpass a century, but no other vertebrate is known to approach the age estimates for Greenland sharks. The secret to their longevity likely lies in their icy habitat, which slows metabolic processes to a crawl. Living in near-freezing water means every cellular reaction takes longer, reducing the accumulation of damage that leads to aging. Scientists are eager to study the shark's genes and proteins for clues that might inform human medicine. The Greenland shark's existence challenges our assumptions about the limits of vertebrate life. It swims through waters that were already cold when some of its oldest individuals were born centuries before the modern era. They are silent witnesses to epochs of human history they have outlived. Understanding what keeps the Greenland shark alive for so long may someday reshape ideas about longevity across the animal kingdom. Hydrothermal vents were first discovered in 1977. In February 1977, scientists aboard the research submersible Alvin descended to the Galapagos Rift and encountered something extraordinary. Jets of superheated water, rich in minerals, spewed from cracks in the seafloor, surrounded by thriving communities of giant tube worms, clams, and crabs. The discovery of hydrothermal vents upended assumptions about the requirements for life on Earth. Before this, scientists believed all ecosystems depended on sunlight as the ultimate energy source. The vent organisms, living in total darkness, drew their sustenance from chemicals dissolved in the hot water. This revelation opened a new chapter in biology and even influenced theories about the origins of life itself. Hydrothermal vents have since been found in oceans around the world, each hosting unique communities adapted to their local chemistry. The 1977 discovery remains one of the most significant in the history of oceanography. It fundamentally transformed our understanding of the limits and possibilities of life on our planet and beyond. This discovery changed our understanding of where life can exist. Before hydrothermal vents were found, life in absolute darkness, and without photosynthesis, seemed impossible. The thriving ecosystems around vents proved that life could be powered by chemical energy from the Earth's interior. This insight had profound implications beyond our planet, suggesting that moons like Europa and Enceladus, which may harbor subsurface oceans and volcanic activity, could potentially support life. The discovery also rewrote textbooks about ecology, demonstrating that food webs need not begin with plants or algae. Instead, chemosynthetic bacteria at vents form the base of the food chain, converting hydrogen sulfide and other chemicals into organic matter. Life, it turned out, is far more resourceful than previously imagined. The lessons learned from hydrothermal vents continue to shape the search for life in extreme environments, both on Earth and in the wider cosmos. Astrobiologists now regard similar environments as prime targets in the hunt for extraterrestrial organisms. These vents spew superheated water at over 400 degrees. Hydrothermal vents form where seawater seeps into cracks in the ocean crust, becomes heated by magma below, and rises back to the surface laden with dissolved minerals. At some vent sites, the water temperature exceeds 400 degrees Celsius, far above the boiling point at sea level. The immense pressure at depth prevents this superheated water from turning to steam. As the hot fluid meets the cold surrounding seawater, minerals precipitate out, forming towering chimneys of metal sulfides and other compounds. The temperature gradient around a vent can be extreme, with scalding water just centimeters from near-freezing bottom water. Animals cluster in narrow bands where conditions are tolerable, exploiting the nutrients without being cooked. These plumes of hot, mineral-rich water are like underwater geysers, injecting energy and chemicals into an otherwise barren seafloor. The extreme temperatures make these environments among the most challenging on Earth, yet life thrives in defiance of what seems possible. Black smokers form towering chimneys of minerals. Among the most dramatic hydrothermal features are black smokers, chimneys that belch dark clouds of mineral-laden water into the deep. The black color comes from iron and sulfur compounds that precipitate as the hot fluid meets cold seawater. Over time, these minerals build up into towering structures that can reach heights of 60 meters or more. The chimneys grow rapidly by deep-sea standards, sometimes adding several centimeters per day. They are fragile, however, and can collapse under their own weight or crumble when the vent beneath them shifts. Black smokers are surrounded by bustling communities of specialized organisms, from bacteria mats to tube worms to swarms of vent shrimp. The chimneys themselves are rich in valuable metals like copper, zinc, and gold, attracting interest from deep-sea mining companies. Black smokers are monuments to the dynamic forces shaping the ocean floor. Their presence marks the boundary between geology and biology, where mineral processes and living systems intertwine. Life thrives around vents, without any sunlight. The ecosystems surrounding hydrothermal vents are entirely independent of the sun. Unlike surface ecosystems, which rely on photosynthesis, vent communities are powered by chemosynthesis. Bacteria and archaea convert chemicals like hydrogen sulfide into organic matter, forming the base of a food web that includes worms, clams, crabs, and fish. Dense clusters of giant tube worms, some over 2 meters long, wave gently in the vent currents, their red plumes exchanging gases with the water. Mussels and clams filter bacteria from the water or host them within their tissues. Predators and scavengers patrol the periphery, hunting smaller invertebrates and feeding on carcasses. These lush oases stand in stark contrast to the barren abyssal plains surrounding them, where life is sparse and widely scattered. Hydrothermal vents are beacons of abundance in an otherwise nutrient-poor desert. Their existence proves that energy from within the Earth can sustain complex ecosystems as rich as any found in sunlit waters. Chemosynthetic bacteria convert chemicals into energy. At the heart of every hydrothermal vent ecosystem are the bacteria and archaea that perform chemosynthesis. These microbes oxidize chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, methane, or hydrogen, using the released energy to fix carbon dioxide into organic molecules. The process is analogous to photosynthesis but relies on chemical reactions rather than sunlight. Thick mats of bacteria coat rocks and chimney surfaces around vents, forming a living carpet that supports grazers and filter feeders. Some larger animals, like tube worms and certain clams, have evolved to harbor chemosynthetic bacteria within their own tissues, receiving nutrients directly from their microbial partners. This symbiosis allows the hosts to live entirely without eating in the conventional sense. Chemosynthesis demonstrates that life has more than one metabolic pathway to thrive, and that energy sources in the abyss can substitute for the radiance of the sun. They use hydrogen sulfide, methane, and iron as fuel. The chemicals that power chemosynthesis vary from vent to vent, depending on local geology. Hydrogen sulfide is one of the most common energy sources, produced when seawater reacts with hot rock rich in sulfur compounds. Some vents release methane, which other microbes can oxidize for energy. Iron, manganese, and even hydrogen gas serve as fuel at certain sites. The diversity of chemical inputs supports a corresponding diversity of microbial communities, each adapted to exploit local conditions. This variety means that no two vent ecosystems are exactly alike. Scientists study these differences to understand how microbial metabolism has evolved and diversified over billions of years. The chemical buffet of the deep offers insight into the early history of life on Earth, when similar reactions may have powered the first living cells before photosynthesis arose. Giant tube worms have no mouths or digestive systems. Among the most iconic inhabitants of hydrothermal vents are the giant tube worms, creatures that can exceed 2 meters in length. Unlike most animals, these worms lack mouths, stomachs, and intestines. Instead, they rely entirely on symbiotic bacteria housed within a specialized organ called the trophosome. Blood vessels carry hydrogen sulfide from the vent water to the bacteria, which use it to produce organic compounds that nourish their host. The worms, bright red plumes, rich in hemoglobin, wave in the currents, absorbing chemicals from the surrounding water. This partnership is so efficient that tube worms are among the fastest growing invertebrates known, able to colonize new vents rapidly. When a vent dies, the worms perish too, their fate inseparably linked to the flow of chemical-rich water. These silent giants are symbols of the remarkable adaptations that flourish in the abyss. Their success demonstrates how mutualistic relationships can unlock resources beyond the reach of solitary organisms. These worms host bacteria that produce their food. The giant tube worm's survival depends on a remarkable internal partnership. Billions of chemosynthetic bacteria reside within the trophosome, a spongy organ that occupies much of the worm's body cavity. The worm supplies these microbes with hydrogen sulfide, oxygen, and carbon dioxide absorbed through its feathery plume. In return, the bacteria synthesize sugars and amino acids that sustain their host. This mutualistic relationship is so intimate that neither partner can survive without the other under natural conditions. The efficiency of the arrangement allows tube worms to grow at astonishing rates, sometimes adding over 80 centimeters in a single year. When scientists first dissected tube worms, they were surprised to find no gut, only a packed mass of bacterial symbionts. This discovery highlighted how deeply microbial partnerships can shape animal evolution. The tube worm is not just an organism, but a collaboration between kingdoms of life. Vent shrimp have heat-sensing organs instead of eyes. Living in the scalding waters around hydrothermal vents requires special adaptations. The Rhimachurus exoculata shrimp, found at Atlantic vents, has lost its conventional eyes and instead developed a pair of unusual organs on its back that are sensitive to infrared radiation. These modified eyes allow the shrimp to detect the faint glow emitted by superheated vent water, helping it navigate toward food sources without straying into lethal temperatures. The shrimp cluster in dense swarms near the vent openings, grazing on bacterial mats that coat the chimney walls. Their infrared sensors are thought to be the first of their kind discovered in the deep sea. This adaptation illustrates how evolution can repurpose existing structures to meet new challenges. In a world without sunlight, heat itself becomes a beacon, and the shrimp have evolved to follow its subtle radiance. Tiny microbes power entire deep-sea food webs. In the absence of sunlight, microorganisms form the foundation of life in the deep ocean. Bacteria and archaea convert inorganic chemicals into organic matter through chemosynthesis, creating the primary energy source for all other creatures. These microbes coat rocks, sediments, and even the bodies of larger animals, turning barren substrates into living surfaces. Filter feeders and grazers consume the microbial films, while predators and scavengers dine on those consumers. The entire ecosystem, from the smallest worm to the largest fish, ultimately traces its energy back to microscopic cells metabolizing chemicals in the dark. This microbial engine runs continuously, recycling nutrients and sustaining life in one of Earth's harshest environments. Without these tiny architects, the deep ocean would be a biological desert. Their silent labor underpins every other form of abyssal life. Studying these microbial communities has reshaped our understanding of biogeochemical cycles and the resilience of life itself. Microbes feed on sulfur that leaks from Earth's crust. The deep ocean floor is not a sealed barrier, but a porous boundary through which chemicals seep from the planet's interior. Sulfur compounds, produced by reactions between seawater and hot rock, diffuse into the overlying water, providing fuel for chemosynthetic microbes. These microorganisms harvest the chemical energy locked in sulfur bonds, much as plants harvest the energy of sunlight. The sulfur-oxidizing bacteria form extensive mats that carpet vent chimneys and cold seeps, appearing as white or yellow coatings on rock surfaces. Their metabolic activities not only sustain local food webs but also influence the chemistry of the ocean itself. By cycling sulfur through their cells, these microbes connect geological processes with biological ones. They are living links between the fiery interior of the Earth and the cold, dark waters of the abyss. Chemosynthesis may be one of the earliest forms of life on Earth. Before the evolution of photosynthesis, the early Earth lacked an oxygen-rich atmosphere and was dominated by volcanic activity. Many scientists believe that life may have first arisen near hydrothermal vents, where chemical energy was abundant and conditions were shielded from harmful ultraviolet radiation. Chemosynthetic metabolisms, which require no sunlight, could have thrived in this primordial environment. The discovery of thriving vent ecosystems lent support to this hypothesis, demonstrating that complex communities can exist entirely independently of solar energy. Genetic studies suggest that some of the deepest branches on the tree of life are occupied by organisms that use chemical reactions for energy. If these theories are correct, then the ancestors of all living things may have first stirred in the darkness of ancient vents. Chemosynthesis may be the original engine of life on our planet. Entire ecosystems exist without ever seeing sunlight. The deep sea harbors communities that have never experienced a single photon from the sun. From hydrothermal vents to cold seeps to whale falls, these ecosystems draw their energy entirely from chemical sources or the slow rain of organic debris from above. The organisms living in such places have evolved in complete isolation from the photosynthetic world, developing unique physiologies and behaviors. Some have lost pigmentation, appearing ghostly white or translucent. Others have developed extraordinary senses to navigate and communicate in the dark. These sunless realms challenge our surface-centric view of life, reminding us that the biosphere extends far beyond the reach of light. Every discovery in the deep expands our understanding of what is possible. Life, it turns out, does not need stars to flourish, only chemistry and time. The existence of these ecosystems rewrites our definition of habitability across the universe. Marine snow drifts down from the surface like underwater snowfall. Throughout the water column, a constant, gentle rain of particles descends toward the seafloor. This material, known as marine snow, consists of dead plankton, fecal pellets, mucus, and other organic debris. The flakes clump together as they sink, forming aggregates that can be several centimeters across. Their slow descent, sometimes taking weeks to reach the bottom, transports carbon and nutrients from the sunlit surface to the dark depths below. Marine snow is the primary food source for many abyssal organisms, which intercept it as it drifts past, or scavenge it from the sediment. The process also plays a role in the global carbon cycle, sequestering organic matter in deep-sea sediments for millennia. Watching marine snow fall in the beam of a submersible's lights is an ethereal experience, a silent blizzard in perpetual slow motion. This steady delivery of nutrients connects the vibrant surface ecosystems with the sparse life clinging to the abyssal floor. This falling debris is the primary food source in the deep. For most of the abyssal seafloor, distant from hydrothermal vents or cold seeps, marine snow is the only significant input of energy. Organisms living on the vast flat plains of the abyss depend on this gentle rain for survival. Filter feeders extend delicate appendages to catch passing particles, while deposit feeders sift through sediment enriched by accumulated snow. Predators and scavengers roam in search of anything edible, from fallen fish to the carcasses of surface animals. The amount of marine snow reaching the bottom varies with surface productivity. Beneath nutrient-rich waters, more material arrives, supporting denser communities. In oligotrophic regions, food is scarce and life is sparse. This vertical connection links the sunlit ocean to its darkest depths, a thread of carbon binding the biosphere from top to bottom. Marine snow includes dead plankton, fecal matter, and tiny particles. The composition of marine snow is remarkably varied. It includes the remains of phytoplankton, zooplankton, and other microscopic organisms that have died in the upper waters. Fecal pellets produced by copepods and other small crustaceans are a major component, sinking faster than individual cells because of their compact, dense form. Mucus webs, shed by filter-feeding appendicularians, trap additional particles as they descend. Even pollen grains, dust and microplastics can become incorporated into the falling flakes. As aggregates sink, they are colonized by bacteria that begin decomposing the organic matter, releasing nutrients back into the water column. What eventually reaches the seafloor is a processed, partially degraded mixture that still contains enough energy to sustain life. Marine snow is the ocean's recycling system, transferring the products of surface life into the perpetual darkness below. A whale fall can feed an ecosystem for decades. When a great whale dies and sinks to the seafloor, it delivers an enormous gift of nutrients to the deep. A single carcass can weigh tens of tons, providing more organic matter than centuries of marine snow in the same small area. Scavengers like hagfish, sleeper sharks, and crabs descend first, stripping the soft tissues within months to a few years. Next, a community of Finally, specialized organisms, including bone-eating worms of the genus Osedax, break down the skeleton itself, a process that can take decades. Throughout this succession, the whale fall supports a unique assemblage of species found nowhere else. These isolated oases of abundance are like islands in the desert of the abyss, each whale a gift that keeps giving long after its death. Whale falls demonstrate how the death of a single animal can spark new life in the deep ocean. Specialized species arrive in succession at whale carcasses. The community that develops around a whale fall changes in predictable stages. First come the mobile scavengers, large animals capable of detecting and reaching the carcass quickly. Once the flesh is stripped, enrichment opportunists move in, small worms and crustaceans that thrive on the organic-rich sediments surrounding the skeleton. Over years, the bones themselves become the focus, colonized by specialized organisms that can digest the lipids locked within. Bacterial mats may develop on the skeleton, supporting grazers and filter feeders in a miniature ecosystem. Each stage supports different species, some found only at whale falls and nowhere else in the ocean. The succession mirrors what happens in terrestrial ecosystems when a large animal dies, but it unfolds over far longer timescales. Whale falls are biological laboratories, revealing the intricate processes of decomposition and community assembly in the deep. Some creatures have evolved to survive only on whale bones. Among the most remarkable inhabitants of whale falls are the bone-eating worms of the genus Osedax. These worms lack mouths and digestive systems, instead using root-like structures to bore into whale bones and extract fats and oils. Symbiotic bacteria within the worms break down the bone matrix, releasing nutrients that sustain their hosts. Osedax worms are found almost exclusively at whale falls, appearing wherever a carcass has sunk to sufficient depth. They come in many species, each adapted to different bones, depths, or whale types. Their discovery in the early 2000s revealed a hidden world of specialists that had been quietly recycling whale remains for millions of years. Without whale falls, these creatures would have no habitat. Their existence underscores the importance of large marine mammals, not just as living animals, but as essential contributors to deep-sea biodiversity, even after death. The Deal vertical migration is the largest animal movement on Earth. Every night, a vast assemblage of marine creatures ascends from the deep to feed in the productive surface waters, then descends again before dawn. This daily journey, known as Diel vertical migration, involves billions of organisms, including fish, squid, shrimp, and zooplankton. The distance traveled can exceed several hundred meters each way, an enormous effort for small animals. By hiding in the dark depths during the day, migrants avoid visual predators that hunt near the surface. At night, they rise to graze on phytoplankton or consume smaller organisms, returning before the light exposes them. The sheer biomass involved makes this migration the largest coordinated animal movement on the planet. It also plays a crucial role in transporting carbon and nutrients between the surface and the deep, linking the two realms in a nightly dance of survival. Scientists consider this phenomenon essential for understanding global ocean productivity and the biological pump that sequesters carbon in the deep. Billions of creatures rise and fall through the ocean each day. The scale of Diel vertical migration is staggering. Acoustic surveys reveal layers of animals so dense they appear as solid bands on sonar screens, rising at dusk and descending at dawn like the breathing of the ocean itself. Fish, Gelatinous zooplankton, krill, and countless invertebrates participate in this nightly journey. Some individual animals travel more than a kilometer in a single night, powered by tiny muscles working against the weight of the water column. The energy expenditure is significant, but the rewards, access to rich surface food while minimizing predation risk, justify the effort. This migration has been occurring for hundreds of millions of years, shaping the evolution of countless species. It is a testament to the relentless drive of life to find food and avoid being eaten. The collective movement also accelerates the transport of carbon to deeper waters, strengthening the ocean's role as a climate regulator. They travel hundreds of meters each night to feed near the surface. For a small crustacean only a few centimeters long, swimming several hundred meters upward is an extraordinary feat. The journey takes hours and requires considerable energy reserves. Yet the payoff is access to the rich soup of phytoplankton and microorganisms that flourish in sunlit waters. Feeding occurs during the brief hours of darkness, when visual predators are less effective. Before dawn, the migrants begin their descent, returning to the relative safety of the twilight or midnight zones. This daily rhythm structures the lives of countless marine species, from tiny copepods to lanternfish. The vertical migration also has global implications, transporting carbon absorbed by surface organisms deep into the ocean, where it may remain for centuries. Each nightly journey is a small thread in the vast fabric of ocean ecosystems. Cold water corals build vast cities in the dark. Unlike their tropical relatives, cold water corals thrive in the deep ocean, far below the reach of sunlight. They construct intricate frameworks of calcium carbonate that can extend over thousands of square kilometers, forming reef systems as complex as any in shallow seas. These corals filter food particles from the passing currents, growing slowly but persistently over centuries. The structures they create provide habitat for fish, crustaceans, sponges, and countless other organisms, supporting biodiversity hotspots in otherwise barren regions. Cold water coral reefs have been found in every ocean, from the North Atlantic to the waters around Antarctica. Many are ancient, their foundations laid down thousands of years ago. These hidden cities stand as monuments to the tenacity of life in the deep, building cathedrals of stone in eternal darkness. Some deep coral reefs are older than human civilization. Radiocarbon dating of cold water corals has revealed ages stretching back thousands of years. Some living colonies have been growing continuously since before the last ice age, their skeletons recording changes in ocean chemistry and climate. The oldest known coral structures may predate the earliest human settlements, making them among the most ancient living systems on Earth. Growth rates are slow, often only a few millimeters per year, so a large reef represents millennia of patient accumulation. These ancient formations are extremely vulnerable to disturbance. A single trawl net can destroy thousands of years of growth in minutes. Protecting deep-sea corals is therefore a matter of preserving irreplaceable natural heritage. Every branch a scientist samples contains a chemical diary of ocean conditions stretching back into prehistory. Understanding these records is crucial for reconstructing past ocean behavior and predicting future changes. Deep-water corals grow without ever seeing the sun. Tropical corals depend on symbiotic algae that require sunlight to photosynthesize, but cold-water corals have no such partners. Instead, they capture food particles, mostly zooplankton and organic detritus, directly from the water using their polyps' tentacles. This feeding strategy allows them to colonize depths far below the photic zone, where no light penetrates. The energy they extract is enough to build massive reef frameworks over centuries. Without the constraint of needing sunlight, cold water corals can exploit habitats ranging from continental slopes to seamounts to the flanks of mid-ocean ridges. Their distribution is limited mainly by current patterns that deliver sufficient food and by temperatures that support their metabolism. Life in the deep does not need light to build. It needs only time, patience, and a steady supply of nourishment drifting by. They catch tiny particles of food drifting through the current. Cold water corals are suspension feeders, extending their polyps into the passing current to snare whatever edible particles flow by. Their diet consists primarily of zooplankton, bacteria, and detrital fragments sinking from above. The polyps are armed with stinging cells that immobilize small prey before drawing it into the central mouth. Feeding efficiency depends on current speed and the concentration of suspended material, so cold water corals tend to cluster where currents are strong and food is abundant. Seamounts, canyon edges, and current-swept ridges often host the densest populations. By filtering the water, corals play a role in recycling nutrients and linking the pelagic realm with the benthic environment. Each polyp is a tiny hunter, and together they form vast networks capable of trapping enormous quantities of organic matter over time. New coral reefs are still being discovered today. Despite centuries of ocean exploration, scientists continue to find previously unknown cold water coral ecosystems. Improved sonar technology, remotely operated vehicles, and expanded deep-sea surveys are revealing reefs in unexpected places, from the continental margins of South America to the waters around New Zealand. Each discovery adds to our understanding of how widespread and ecologically important these formations are. Some newly found reefs are already threatened by fishing, oil exploration, or climate change before they have even been fully studied. The ongoing pace of discovery underscores how much of the deep ocean remains uncharted. Every expedition has the potential to encounter a reef that has existed in silent darkness for millennia, unseen by any eye until now. The deep holds secrets that are only beginning to emerge into the light of scientific knowledge. Each reef discovered expands our map of biodiversity and informs future conservation priorities. One reef off South Carolina was over 130 kilometers long. In 2018, scientists discovered a massive cold water coral reef stretching along the continental slope off the coast of South Carolina. The structure extended for over 130 kilometers, making it one of the largest known deep-sea coral formations. Despite its size, the reef had remained hidden from view because it lies at depths between 200 and nearly 1,000 meters, far beyond the reach of recreational divers or casual surveys. Its discovery demonstrated how much of the ocean floor remains unexplored, even within the territorial waters of major nations. The reef supports a rich assemblage of fish, crustaceans, and other organisms, functioning as a biodiversity hotspot in an otherwise sparsely populated region. Protecting such vast underwater habitats presents logistical and political challenges, but their ecological value makes conservation efforts worthwhile. Such discoveries highlight the urgent need for comprehensive ocean mapping and continued investment in deep-sea exploration technology. The SOFAR channel carries sound across entire ocean basins. At certain depths in the ocean, temperature and pressure combine to create a layer where sound travels with remarkable efficiency. This zone, called the SOFAR channel, acts as a natural waveguide, trapping acoustic energy and allowing it to propagate across thousands of kilometers with minimal loss. Whale songs, underwater explosions, and even the rumble of distant earthquakes can be detected across entire ocean basins thanks to this phenomenon. During the Cold War, militaries used the SOFAR channel to track submarines and detect nuclear tests. Scientists now employ it to monitor whale populations and study ocean acoustics. The existence of this sound highway demonstrates how the physical properties of seawater can create unexpected pathways for energy and information. The deep ocean is not silent. It hums with sounds traveling vast distances through hidden channels of the sea. Understanding these acoustic properties is vital for marine conservation and for decoding the natural rhythms of the underwater world. Whale songs can travel thousands of kilometers through this channel. Large whales, particularly baleen species like blue and fin whales, produce low-frequency calls that can enter the SOFAR channel and propagate across ocean basins. These songs may allow whales to communicate over distances that would be impossible in any other medium. A call made off the coast of Hawaii can, under the right conditions, be detected near Japan or California. Scientists believe these long-range communications may help whales coordinate movements, locate mates, and navigate across featureless stretches of open ocean. The deep sound channel effectively extends the range of whale voices by orders of magnitude. Sadly, increasing noise from shipping and industrial activity is raising the ambient sound level, potentially interfering with these ancient lines of communication. The songs of the great whales are among the longest distance signals produced by any living creature. Protecting the quiet of the ocean is essential for preserving these irreplaceable vocal traditions that have evolved over millions of years. The deep ocean is surprisingly noisy when you listen. Although it seems like a silent realm, the deep sea is filled with sounds. The crackle of snapping shrimp, the rumble of underwater landslides, the groaning of shifting ice, and the distant calls of whales all contribute to a complex acoustic environment. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and even rain striking the surface create vibrations that travel into the depths. Human activities add their own noise: ship engines, sonar pulses, and seismic surveys for oil and gas. Hydrophones lowered into the ocean reveal a surprisingly lively soundscape that varies by location, depth, and time of day. Many marine animals rely on sound for communication, navigation, and hunting, making them sensitive to changes in background noise. The ocean may appear quiet to our unaided senses, but beneath the surface it hums with constant activity. Listening to the ocean is like tuning into a hidden radio station that has been broadcasting for millions of years. Submarine volcanoes erupt beneath miles of water. The majority of Earth's volcanic activity occurs out of sight, beneath the ocean's surface. Submarine volcanoes dot mid-ocean ridges, island arcs, and hotspot tracts, erupting lava into the cold abyssal water. These eruptions can be explosive, releasing clouds of ash and gas, or effusive, producing slow-moving flows of pillow basalt. The weight of the overlying water suppresses some forms of explosive volcanism, but eruptions can still be violent enough to generate underwater shock waves. Hydrothermal vents often form in the aftermath of volcanic activity, creating oases of life on newly formed seafloor. Many submarine volcanoes remain unmonitored, erupting without anyone on the surface aware of their activity. Only when lava flows alter the seafloor, or floating pumice appears, do scientists realize an eruption has occurred. The volcanic engine that drives plate tectonics operates largely unseen beneath the waves. This hidden volcanism shapes the ocean floor and influences ocean chemistry in ways scientists are still working to understand. most of Earth's volcanic activity happens underwater. While famous volcanoes like Vesuvius or Mount St. Helens capture public attention, they represent only a fraction of the planet's volcanic output. The vast majority of eruptions occur along the mid-ocean ridges, where tectonic plates pull apart and magma rises to fill the gap. Estimates suggest that more than 80% of all volcanic activity takes place beneath the waves, out of sight and largely out of mind. This submarine volcanism creates new oceanic crust at a rate of several centimeters per year, recycling the seafloor over geological time. The heat and chemicals released by these eruptions support hydrothermal ecosystems and influence ocean chemistry. Without underwater volcanism, the Earth's surface would be radically different, lacking the dynamic processes that shape continents and ocean basins alike. The hidden fire of the deep is one of the most powerful forces on our planet. It continuously renews the ocean floor in a process that has been ongoing for billions of years. Some underwater eruptions happen in total silence. Not all submarine volcanic eruptions are dramatic events. Many occur so deep or so gently that they produce little detectable noise. Effusive eruptions, where lava oozes slowly from fissures in the sea floor, can proceed without significant explosions or shockwaves. The immense pressure at great depths suppresses the expansion of gases that would cause explosive fragmentation in shallower water. These silent eruptions spread pillows and sheets of basalt across the seafloor, building new crust layer by layer. Scientists often detect them only through changes in seafloor topography or the appearance of fresh volcanic glass in dredge samples. The quietness of deep-sea volcanism belies its importance. This steady extrusion of magma is the primary mechanism by which new oceanic lithosphere is created. In the abyss, even seemingly cataclysmic processes can unfold in utter stillness. Others slowly build giant domes of lava in the abyss. Some submarine volcanoes produce thick, viscous lava that piles up near the vent rather than flowing away. Over time, these accumulations form rounded domes that can reach impressive heights above the surrounding seafloor. The lava cools quickly on contact with cold seawater, forming a glassy crust that insulates the molten interior, allowing the dome to grow from within. Some domes collapse under their own weight, or from internal gas pressure, generating debris avalanches that spread material across the abyssal plains. Others remain stable, becoming permanent features of the ocean floor. The shapes and compositions of these domes provide clues about the magma chemistry and eruption dynamics at each site. Even in the deepest, darkest reaches of the ocean, volcanic creativity continues to sculpt the landscape in ways both subtle and grand. The seafloor is recycled by the Earth itself. Unlike continental crust, which can persist for billions of years, oceanic crust is geologically young and ephemeral. It is created at mid-ocean ridges, spreads outward over millions of years, and eventually plunges back into the mantle at subduction zones. This process, called seafloor spreading and subduction, recycles the entire ocean floor on a timescale of roughly 200 million years. The oldest oceanic crust currently in existence is found in the Western Pacific, dating back to the Jurassic period. Everything older has already been consumed by the Earth's interior. This recycling mechanism regulates the planet's carbon cycle, transfers water into the mantle, and drives volcanic activity along plate boundaries. The deep ocean floor is not a static surface, but a dynamic conveyor belt, constantly being born at one end and destroyed at the other. Understanding this cycle is essential for unraveling the geological history of our planet. Tectonic plates move like slow-motion gears beneath the sea. The ocean floor is divided into massive slabs of lithosphere called tectonic plates, which drift across the planet's surface at speeds of a few centimeters per year. Driven by convection currents in the underlying mantle, these plates interact at boundaries where they pull apart, collide, or slide past one another. The movements are imperceptible on human timescales but profound over millions of years, reshaping continents and ocean basins alike. Mid-ocean ridges mark divergent boundaries, trenches mark convergent ones, and transform faults accommodate lateral motion. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are concentrated along these boundaries, evidence of the immense forces at work. The slow-motion ballet of tectonic plates is the fundamental mechanism sculpting Earth's surface. Beneath the dark waters of the deep, the planet is constantly reinventing itself, 1 centimeter at a time. This planetary-scale machinery has operated continuously for billions of years, beyond the awareness of all but the most persistent observers. The Atlantic Ocean grows wider by inches every year. The Atlantic Ocean is expanding as the Americas drift westward away from Europe and Africa. At the mid-Atlantic ridge, magma rises to fill the gap, adding new crust to both plates and pushing them apart at a rate of roughly 2 to 5 centimeters per year. Over millions of years, this slow divergence has transformed the Atlantic from a narrow seaway into one of the planet's great oceans. The spreading rate varies along the ridge, with northern sections moving more slowly than those near the equator. Eventually, the Atlantic will continue to widen until tectonic forces shift and new patterns of subduction emerge. The process illustrates how the face of the Earth is never fixed. Continents drift, oceans open and close, and the map of the world is continuously rewritten by forces deep beneath the surface. This steady expansion is imperceptible day to day, but monumental over geological time, reshaping the planet's geography inch by inch. The oldest known sea floor is only 200 million years old. While continental rocks can be billions of years old, the oceanic crust is geologically young. The oldest patches of seafloor still in existence date to the Jurassic period, roughly 180 to 200 million years ago, and are found in the western Pacific and eastern Mediterranean. Everything older has long since been swallowed by subduction zones and recycled into the mantle. This relative youth is a consequence of the dynamic nature of plate tectonics, which continuously creates and destroys oceanic lithosphere. The contrast with ancient continental shields underscores how different the two types of crust are in composition, density, and fate. The deep ocean floor, for all its apparent permanence, is among the most transient features of Earth's surface. It is a geologically young canvas, constantly being erased and redrawn. Some of Earth's deepest earthquakes happen beneath the ocean. As oceanic plates descend into the mantle at subduction zones, they carry stresses deep into the Earth. Earthquakes can occur hundreds of kilometers below the surface, far deeper than any quake originating on land. These deep focus earthquakes release energy in the brittle slab as it is slowly consumed by the surrounding hot mantle. The shaking they produce can be felt over vast areas because seismic waves travel efficiently through the rigid plate. Some of the most powerful earthquakes in recorded history, including the 2011 Tohoku event off Japan, originated along subduction zones beneath the ocean. The deep oceanic trenches that mark these boundaries are among the most seismically active regions on the planet. The collision of plates beneath the sea generates forces that can reshape coastlines and trigger tsunamis capable of crossing entire ocean basins. Undersea landslides can trigger devastating tsunamis. The slopes of the continental margins and underwater volcanoes are prone to instability. Sediment accumulates over centuries, building steep faces that can fail catastrophically when disturbed by earthquakes, volcanic activity, or the slow creep of gravity. When a large mass of material suddenly slumps or slides, it displaces enormous volumes of water, generating waves that propagate outward at high speeds. Submarine landslides have been implicated in some of history's most destructive tsunamis, amplifying or even causing the inundation that struck distant shorelines. The 1998 Papua New Guinea tsunami, for example, was worsened by an underwater slump triggered by an earthquake. Mapping and monitoring unstable submarine slopes is challenging but increasingly important as coastal populations grow. The hidden dangers of the deep can reach up to affect those living on the surface without warning. Scientists are developing new tools to identify at-risk areas and improve early warning systems for vulnerable coastlines around the world. These landslides move more material than any river. While rivers are the primary agents of erosion on land, submarine landslides can mobilize sediment on a far grander scale. A single slope failure can dislodge cubic kilometers of material, sending it cascading down into the abyss. These flows can travel hundreds of kilometers across the ocean floor, depositing blankets of sediment that bury underlying features. The turbidity currents generated by such events have been known to sever undersea communication cables, alerting scientists to the power and extent of these hidden avalanches. Over geological time, submarine landslides play a major role in shaping continental margins and redistributing sediment across ocean basins. Their deposits form distinctive geological layers that record the history of past slope failures. In terms of sheer volume moved in a single event, nothing on land compares to the largest submarine slides. The Storegga slide caused a massive tsunami 8,000 years ago. Approximately 8,000 years ago, a section of the Norwegian continental slope collapsed in one of the largest known submarine landslides, now called the Storegga slide. The failure released an estimated 3,000 cubic kilometers of sediment, which cascaded down the slope and spread across the abyssal plain. The displacement generated a tsunami that struck the coasts of Scotland, Norway, and the Faroe Islands, leaving deposits far inland. Evidence of this ancient wave can still be found in sediment cores and coastal stratigraphy. The Storegga slide is a sobering reminder that the sea floor is not static, and that catastrophic events can occur with little warning. Similar unstable areas exist along continental margins around the world, and understanding their potential is a priority for hazard assessment. The lessons of Storegga echo through geological time. Vast submarine canyons slice through the continental shelf. Continental margins are often cut by deep, steep-walled canyons that rival or exceed the size of any on land. These submarine canyons serve as conduits for sediment, channeling material from shallow coastal waters down to the abyssal plains. Some were carved by rivers during periods of lower sea level, when coastlines extended far beyond their present positions. Others were shaped by turbidity currents, dense flows of sediment-laden water that erode and widen the channels over time. The largest canyons plunge thousands of meters below the surrounding sea floor, their walls home to unique communities of corals, sponges, and fish. Exploring these features is challenging due to their depth and rugged terrain, but remotely operated vehicles have revealed landscapes of stunning complexity. Submarine canyons are highways of the deep, connecting the shallow and abyssal realms. They are among the most dramatic geological features hidden beneath the ocean's surface, rivaling any mountain range or rift valley on land. One underwater canyon is bigger than the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is often cited as one of Earth's most impressive geological features, but several submarine canyons surpass it in size. Monterey Canyon off the California coast and the Congo Canyon off the western coast of Africa both exceed the Grand Canyon in depth and length. These underwater gorges descend thousands of meters and stretch for hundreds of kilometers across the continental rise. Their walls rise steeply from the canyon floor, creating dramatic topography hidden beneath the waves. Exploring them requires specialized vehicles and technology rarely available outside major research institutions. The scale of these canyons challenges our surface-centric perception of the planet, reminding us that the grandest landscapes on Earth may lie unseen beneath the ocean. Every submersible dive into a submarine canyon is a journey into the unknown. The Jemtchug Canyon plunges over 2.5 kilometers deep. Located in the Bering Sea off the coast of Alaska, Jemtchug Canyon is among the deepest submarine canyons in the world. It descends approximately 2,600 meters from the edge of the continental shelf to the abyssal floor, a vertical drop greater than the Grand Canyon's depth. The canyon formed through a combination of erosion by ancient rivers, glacial activity, and ongoing turbidity currents. Its remote location and extreme depths have limited exploration, but surveys have revealed a complex system of tributary channels and steep walls. The ecosystem within Jemtchug Canyon includes cold water corals, rockfish, and crustaceans adapted to the canyon's unique conditions. Despite its size, Jemtchug remains largely unknown to the general public, a testament to how much of the ocean floor still awaits discovery and appreciation. These valleys funnel sediment to the abyss. Submarine canyons act as natural pipelines, channeling sediment, organic matter, and nutrients from the continental shelf down to the deep ocean floor. Turbidity currents, generated by storms, earthquakes, or slope failures, sweep material through the canyons at high speeds, sometimes reaching tens of kilometers per hour. When these currents lose energy on the abyssal plains, they deposit their load in broad, fan-shaped accumulations. Over millions of years, these submarine fans grow to immense sizes, representing some of the largest sedimentary deposits on Earth. The Bengal Fan, fed by the Ganges and Brahmaputra rivers, extends over 3,000 kilometers into the Indian Ocean. Canyons also transport carbon from coastal waters to the deep, playing a role in the global carbon cycle. They are the arteries of the seafloor, connecting the productive margins with the vast, quiet abyss. The ocean floor stores the history of Earth's climate. Layers of sediment on the seafloor accumulate slowly over millions of years, each layer recording the conditions at the time of its deposition. By drilling cores into this sediment, scientists extract continuous records of past climate, stretching back tens of millions of years. The chemical composition, fossil content, and physical properties of the sediment reveal changes in temperature, ocean circulation, and atmospheric carbon dioxide. Ice ages, warm periods, and mass extinctions all leave distinctive signatures in the deep sea record. These archives are among the most detailed and continuous of any on Earth, offering unparalleled insight into how our planet's climate has fluctuated over geological time. Understanding past changes helps scientists predict future trends and assess the sensitivity of the climate system. The silent layers of the abyss are a library of Earth's environmental history. They hold clues to questions we have not yet thought to ask, waiting patiently beneath miles of water. Ancient sediment cores hold secrets from millions of years ago. Deep-sea drilling projects have recovered sediment cores stretching back over 100 million years, providing windows into conditions long before humans existed. These cores contain microfossils, volcanic ash layers, and chemical signals that chronicle the evolution of oceans and atmosphere. By analyzing the oxygen isotope ratios in foraminifera shells, scientists can estimate past sea temperatures and ice volumes. Layers of unusual minerals or iridium can mark asteroid impacts and volcanic catastrophes. Each core is a vertical timeline, with the oldest material at the bottom and the youngest at the top. Comparing cores from different ocean basins reveals how global events unfolded across the planet. The painstaking work of drilling and analyzing these sediments has revolutionized our understanding of Earth's past, revealing cycles and events invisible to any other record. These cylindrical samples of history are among the most valuable archives available to science, preserving information that would otherwise be lost forever. Microscopic fossils reveal past worlds lost to time. The sediment of the deep ocean floor is rich in the remains of tiny organisms that once floated in surface waters. Foraminifera, radiolarians, diatoms, and coccolithophores all leave behind shells or skeletons that accumulate on the seafloor over millennia. By identifying and counting these microfossils, scientists can reconstruct the ecosystems that existed at different times and places. Changes in species assemblages reflect shifts in temperature, nutrient availability, and ocean circulation. Some microfossils are so sensitive to environmental conditions that they serve as proxies for past climate states. Studying them is like reading a microscopic diary of ancient seas. These tiny relics connect us to worlds that vanished millions of years ago, preserved in layers of ooze beneath the waves. Each new core sample offers fresh clues about events ranging from mass extinctions to ice age cycles. Foraminifera shells record ocean temperatures over millennia. Foraminifera are single-celled organisms that construct intricate shells of calcium carbonate. When they die, their shells sink to the seafloor, where they accumulate in vast numbers. The ratio of oxygen isotopes incorporated into the shell depends on the temperature and isotopic composition of the water in which the organism lived. By measuring these ratios in fossil foraminifera, scientists can estimate past ocean temperatures with remarkable precision. This technique has been refined over decades and forms the backbone of paleoceanographic research. Foram-based temperature records extend back tens of millions of years, documenting ice ages, warm intervals, and rapid climate shifts. The tiny shells are like thermometers frozen in time, each one a snapshot of the ocean's state at the moment it formed. The consistency and global distribution of foraminifera make them indispensable tools for reconstructing Earth's climate history. We use robots to explore where no human can swim. The depths of the ocean are too hostile for unprotected humans, so scientists rely on robotic systems to extend their reach. Remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, are tethered to surface ships and controlled by pilots who guide them through the darkness. Autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs, are programmed to carry out missions independently, surveying large areas and returning with data. These machines are equipped with cameras, sensors, and manipulator arms, capable of collecting samples and performing experiments. They have revealed ecosystems and geological features that would otherwise remain hidden. Robotic exploration is safer and often more efficient than crewed dives, though it lacks the immediacy of human presence. As technology improves, robots are venturing deeper and staying longer, opening ever more of the ocean to scientific inquiry. These technological marvels are our eyes and hands in the deep, extending human curiosity into the most remote corners of the planet. ROVs are equipped with cameras, lights, and robotic arms. Remotely operated vehicles are the workhorses of deep-sea exploration. They carry powerful lights that illuminate the darkness, high-definition cameras that stream live video to operators on the surface, and robotic arms that can manipulate objects with surprising delicacy. Some ROVs can collect samples of sediment, rock, water, or living organisms, storing them in compartments for retrieval. Others are fitted with specialized instruments to measure temperature, salinity, chemical composition, and other parameters. The tether connecting the ROV to its control ship transmits power and data in both directions, allowing real-time control and observation. Hours-long dives can explore features ranging from hydrothermal vents to shipwrecks to uncharted canyons. ROVs have become indispensable tools for marine science, archaeology, and industry, bringing the deep ocean into our living rooms. Autonomous drones can dive for hours beaming back data. Autonomous underwater vehicles operate without a tether, following pre-programmed routes or making decisions based on sensor input. Freed from the constraints of a cable, AUVs can cover vast distances, mapping the seafloor or tracking water properties over hundreds of kilometers. Some are designed to glide efficiently through the water column, adjusting their buoyancy to rise and fall while collecting data. Others can hover in place, conducting detailed surveys of specific sites. Advances in battery technology and artificial intelligence are extending their endurance and capabilities, with some missions lasting weeks or months. AUVs are particularly valuable for exploring remote or hazardous areas where deploying a ship is impractical. They are the scouts of the deep, returning with information that guides subsequent research and exploration. A few submarines can carry humans to the abyss. Despite the dominance of robotic exploration, a handful of crewed submersibles remain active, capable of carrying scientists to the deepest parts of the ocean. Vehicles like Alvin, Shinkai 6500, and the Limiting Factor have reached depths ranging from several thousand meters to the bottom of the Challenger Deep. These submersibles are engineered to withstand crushing pressures, equipped with life support systems and thick viewports that allow direct observation of the abyss. The experience of descending in person, watching the light fade to nothing and witnessing creatures in their natural habitat, cannot be replicated by remote cameras. Human presence brings intuition, adaptability, and serendipity to exploration, qualities that complement the precision of machines. Crewed deep dives remain the pinnacle of ocean exploration, rare expeditions into the last truly unknown realm on Earth. Every deep dive reveals something new and unexpected. The deep ocean is so vast and so poorly explored that almost every expedition encounters unfamiliar species, unusual behaviors, or previously unseen geological features. Scientists regularly return with footage of organisms that defy identification, requiring months or years of study before they can be named and classified. Strange gelatinous forms, bioluminescent displays, and bizarre feeding strategies are common discoveries. Even familiar sites can surprise researchers when visited at different times, or with new technology. This sense of constant discovery is one of the most exciting aspects of deep-sea science. No matter how many dives have been completed, the next one might reveal something that rewrites textbooks. The abyss is an inexhaustible source of wonder, rewarding those who venture into its darkness with glimpses of the unknown. Each mission expands the catalogue of life in ways that few other scientific pursuits can match. Many creatures found in the deep are still unnamed. The sheer diversity of life in the deep ocean far exceeds our current capacity to catalogue it. Expeditions routinely collect specimens that belong to undescribed species, and taxonomic backlogs mean that many will wait years for formal scientific names. Some estimates suggest that the majority of deep-sea species remain unknown to science. The challenge is compounded by the difficulty of preserving delicate organisms, many of which disintegrate when brought to the surface. Genetic sequencing is accelerating species identification, but integrating molecular data with traditional morphology takes time. Even well-studied groups like fish and crustaceans harbor hidden diversity, with cryptic species distinguished only by subtle genetic differences. Naming and understanding these creatures is essential for conservation and ecosystem management. The deep ocean's biodiversity is a frontier that will keep scientists busy for generations. Each newly described species adds another thread to the tapestry of life on Earth, enriching our understanding of evolution and ecology in extreme environments. Scientists estimate over 90% of deep species remain undiscovered. Despite decades of deep-sea research, the total number of species inhabiting the ocean's depths is largely unknown. Conservative estimates suggest that 90% or more of deep-sea organisms have yet to be described or even encountered by scientists. The challenges are immense. The deep ocean covers a vast area, is expensive to access, and harbors life in widely scattered pockets. New species are discovered on nearly every expedition, hinting at the scale of hidden diversity. Many deep-sea habitats, such as abyssal plains, seamounts, and Hadal trenches, remain almost entirely unsurveyed. The advent of better technology is accelerating discovery, but cataloging life in the deep will be the work of centuries. Each new species adds a piece to the puzzle of how life has adapted to extreme conditions. The undiscovered majority is a humbling reminder of how much the ocean still conceals. Mapping the ocean floor is one of science's greatest challenges. Less than a quarter of the global sea floor has been mapped in sufficient detail to reveal features like ridges, canyons, and volcanic cones. The reason is that traditional sonar mapping requires ships to travel slowly over every square kilometer, a time-consuming and expensive process. Satellite altimetry can infer general topography from variations in sea surface height caused by gravity, but the resolution is too coarse for detailed studies. International initiatives like the Seabed 2030 project aim to create a complete high-resolution map of the ocean floor by the end of the decade, but the goal remains ambitious. Filling in the blank spots will require new technologies, more ships, and sustained investment. A complete map would revolutionize our understanding of ocean circulation, seismic hazards, and marine habitats. Until then, much of the seafloor remains as mysterious as the surface of distant moons. Less than 1/4 of the seafloor has been mapped in detail. As of recent estimates, only about 20 to 25% of the ocean floor has been surveyed with modern multi-beam sonar, which produces detailed three-dimensional images. The remainder exists on maps only as vague contours interpolated from sparse data. This means that features larger than many cities could go unnoticed, simply because no ship has passed overhead with the right equipment. Some regions, particularly in the Southern Ocean and remote Pacific, have almost no high-resolution coverage at all. Closing this gap is not merely an academic exercise. Accurate seafloor maps are essential for understanding ocean currents, identifying fisheries habitats, and assessing natural hazards. The effort to map the world's oceans is one of the great scientific endeavors of our time, a global project that unites nations in pursuit of knowledge hidden beneath the waves. Satellites help reveal the hidden landscape of the deep. While satellites cannot see through water, they can measure the height of the sea surface with astonishing precision. Variations in gravity caused by the mass of underwater mountains, ridges, and trenches create subtle bulges and depressions in the ocean surface. By analyzing these variations, scientists can infer the presence of major features on the seafloor, even without direct sonar surveys. Satellite altimetry has revealed vast undersea mountain ranges, volcanoes, and fracture zones that were previously unknown. The technique provides a global overview quickly and affordably, though at resolutions too coarse for detailed study. satellite data guide research vessels toward interesting targets, where high-resolution sonar can fill in the fine details. This combination of space-based and ship-based mapping is gradually unveiling the hidden topography of the deep. Satellites are eyes in the sky that help us see beneath the sea. Advances in satellite technology continue to improve our ability to detect even subtle features scattered across the ocean floor. Metal nodules litter the seafloor like alien pebbles. Scattered across the abyssal plains of many oceans are strange, potato-sized lumps of metal known as polymetallic nodules. These concretions form over millions of years as metals dissolved in seawater precipitate around a nucleus, such as a shark tooth or rock fragment. Layer by layer, manganese, iron, nickel, cobalt, and copper accumulate in concentric bands, creating objects that look like something from another world. The densest fields, found in places like the Clarion-Clipperton Zone in the Pacific, contain billions of nodules spread across hundreds of thousands of square kilometers. Their abundance has attracted interest from mining companies seeking new sources of rare metals. But the nodules also provide hard substrate for deep-sea organisms, and may play roles in nutrient cycling. Harvesting them raises difficult questions about balancing resource extraction with the preservation of pristine ecosystems. These strange concretions sit in sediment that has accumulated over eons, in conditions almost unchanged since they first began to form. These nodules contain manganese, cobalt, nickel, and copper. The mineral composition of polymetallic nodules makes them attractive to industry. Manganese is essential for steelmaking, cobalt is used in batteries and electronics, nickel is a key ingredient in stainless steel and electric vehicle batteries, and copper is fundamental to electrical wiring. As terrestrial deposits of these metals become harder to find and more expensive to extract, the deep sea offers a potential alternative supply. The nodules also contain trace amounts of rare earth elements, adding to their economic appeal. However, extracting nodules from depths of several kilometers is technically challenging and would disturb vast areas of the seafloor. The organisms that live on and around nodules grow slowly and may take centuries to recover from disturbance. Weighing economic benefits against environmental costs is one of the defining debates of deep-sea policy in the 21st century. The future of these metallic treasures will depend on finding sustainable solutions that respect both human needs and ocean ecosystems. Mining the deep could damage fragile ecosystems forever. Deep-sea mining proposals envision heavy machinery rolling across the abyssal plains, vacuuming up nodules or extracting metal-rich crusts from seamounts. Such operations would destroy organisms in their path, resuspend sediments that may take decades to settle, and alter water chemistry over wide areas. Many deep-sea species grow and reproduce slowly, meaning recovery from disturbance could take centuries or millennia. Some may never return if their habitat is sufficiently altered. Concerns about irreversible harm have prompted calls for moratoriums on commercial mining until more is known about deep-sea ecosystems. Balancing the demand for critical metals against the preservation of biodiversity is a challenge with no easy answers. The decisions made in the coming years will shape the future of the deep ocean, determining whether its riches will be exploited or protected. Scientists continue to advocate for precautionary approaches that prioritize understanding ecosystems before disturbing them. Climate change is reaching even the ocean's darkest corners. The deep ocean was once thought to be insulated from the rapid changes occurring at the surface, but evidence suggests otherwise. Warming surface waters eventually sink and circulate into the abyss, raising temperatures in even the deepest basins. Changes in ocean chemistry, including acidification from absorbed carbon dioxide, are altering conditions for calcifying organisms like corals and mollusks. Shifts in nutrient supply and oxygen levels are rippling through deep-sea food webs. Some species may be able to adapt, but others face conditions outside their evolutionary experience. The deep ocean also plays a critical role in buffering climate change by absorbing excess heat and carbon, making its health essential for the planet as a whole. Protecting the deep is not just about preserving a remote wilderness, it is about maintaining the systems that regulate Earth's climate. Plastic has been found in the most remote trenches. No part of the ocean is untouched by human activity. Plastic debris has been discovered in sediment samples and in the stomachs of animals living at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. Microplastics, tiny fragments produced by the breakdown of larger items, are now pervasive throughout the water column, from surface waters to the deepest abyss. The pathways by which plastic reaches these remote locations include sinking marine snow, downward traveling currents, and the feeding activities of migrating animals. The ecological consequences are still being studied, but ingestion of plastic can harm organisms by blocking digestive tracts or introducing toxic chemicals. The presence of our waste in the most inaccessible places on Earth is a sobering reminder of humanity's global footprint. Even the abyss is no refuge from the modern world. Addressing ocean plastic requires action at every level, from individual choices to international agreements. The deep sea is Earth's final living frontier. While humans have set foot on the moon and sent probes to distant planets, the deepest parts of our own ocean remain largely unexplored. The abyss holds mysteries that rival any science fiction, from creatures that glow in the darkness to ecosystems powered by the heat of the Earth itself. It is a realm of extremes, crushing pressure, freezing cold, and absolute darkness. Yet life flourishes there, as it has for billions of years. Exploring the deep is not just a scientific endeavor, it is an act of humility, reminding us that our planet still holds secrets beyond imagination. Every dive reveals something new. Every expedition rewrites a page in the book of life. The deep sea is the last great wilderness on Earth, and its wonders are only beginning to come into view. And now the quiet wonders of the deep ocean begin to gently fade into the stillness of the night. You have wandered through over 100 peaceful truths about the hidden world beneath the waves. From the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench to the glowing forests of bioluminescent life, from hydrothermal vents that sustain ecosystems without sunlight to the slow drift of marine snow through the eternal darkness. You have explored how the ocean floor is recycled by the planet itself, how tectonic plates move in slow motion beneath the sea, and how whale carcasses become oases of life in the barren abyss. You have learned that beneath the calm surface of the ocean, there are mysteries we have only begun to uncover, creatures we have yet to name, and landscapes we have never seen. You are connected to this story more deeply than you may realize. Right now, as you listen, your body carries the memory of ancient seas. The salt in your tears, the water in your cells, the rhythm of your breath like the tide. You are not separate from the ocean. You are part of it, and it is part of you. If your eyes feel heavy now, let them close. Let the rhythm of your breath become steady, like the gentle pulse of deep currents, like the quiet drift of marine snow falling through darkness. Tonight, as you rest, the ocean continues its quiet work. The currents flow. The creatures glow. The vents spew their ancient heat. The sediments settle layer by layer, recording the history of our planet. And somewhere in the darkness, Life thrives in ways we are only beginning to understand. You are a small, warm presence within this vast blue world, peacefully resting among the wonders. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. And may you carry with you the quiet knowledge that even in the deepest darkness there is light, there is life, and there is wonder beyond imagination. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the mysteries of the deep sea. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Drowsy Discovery for more soothing explorations of the natural world. There are more wonders waiting, more secrets hidden in the depths, more gentle truths to drift through on quiet evenings. Rest well, and may the ancient patience of the deep ocean keep you company through the night. This has been Drowsy Discovery. Good night.